Hi there. My name is Billy Park, and I live in the town of Northampton, Massachusetts. And I am a fed up dad. And this is my story. And I'm sure a lot of other parents have stories out there that they want to tell that they're going through with their children as they raise teenagers or younger kids, or maybe they're older kids. So I want to share my story. And I could write a book on the stuff that's been going on to me since I've moved to this town of Northampton, but I'm just going to focus on what happened. Is this idea, this transgender idea of basically that transgender rights don't just matter, they matter more than the rights of your daughters. And I can give you exact proof of that. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this first episode. So, just a little background to where I got to this point. I have a place in Northampton, Mass, which is basically a common space for people of all different mindsets to come together and look at art and have some free coffee and hang out, play games. I have live music. I have book events, all sorts of stuff. And my space was doing pretty well until the transgender community decided to come after me. And when they come after you, man, they come after you hard. Let me tell you, they do. And they came after me. I'll tell you why they came after me. They came after me because I spoke out on social media about the fact that biological males are competing in women's sports unfairly with their known physical advantage in strength, speed, stamina, quickness, jumping ability, agility, lung capacity, body mass. Every known characteristic on the whole, men are superior. So when you put a man on the field, a male, let me rephrase that because they're trying to get rid of the word man and woman, but they can't get rid of male and female, let you know, because those are biological definitions. So when you put a male on the field with a similar age female, it is unfair. It is basically cheating. So basically what happened is I called out what was going on in my town and what was going on around in America. And the transgender community didn't like it. So they came after me. They started slandering me on social media, in town, everywhere they possibly could. They doxed me. Dox is basically taking some quote or comment that you have and then spread it as far as they can, take a screenshot, and basically trying to destroy your reputation, even though it's complete slander and lies. And they'll lie about it. They'll call you transphobic. They'll call you hateful because you're sticking up for females. It has no biological science. The funny thing about this transgender movement is science matters as long as it's not biology. That's kind of the interesting thing about it. So what happened is they came after me first. They came after me on social media. And then they started harassing my employees. They started harassing my customers. They harassed the musicians I had working there. They literally came and talked to them, sent them private messages. And in a matter of a month, my business was destroyed from them threatening my customers and my clients, my volunteers, artists, musicians, you name it. Everybody quit. So my walls were filled with art and filled with music on the weekends and filled with people coming in were suddenly vacated because I had a difference of opinion. That's called fascism. That is fascism when you do that. And they always talk about fascism coming from the right. In my town, it primarily comes from the left. And this is just one example. So when that happened, I became acutely aware of transgender people in my town. And I tried to talk to them about it. They wouldn't talk to me about my opinion. They would just call me hateful things and just call me transphobic and hateful and all these things that didn't make sense. So then next what happened is I saw an article on the internet about a woman named, I think her name was Julie, I think in Washington, who was at her gym, which she'd been for decades, I think, at a YMCA, and was actually her membership was terminated because she called out a male in the women's locker room staring at young girls taking off their bathing suits. And what happened, from what I read from the news, is she went and reported, and the woke YMCA kicked her out. And this woman is a staunch advocate for women's rights, for the environment, and they kicked her out and terminated her membership for life. So what happened at that point is I did something. I decided I was going to call my wife, as I'm going to see what their policy was. But I called them up, and I purposely made it anonymous. I made sure I didn't include the person's name. And I asked them, said, hey, we've been members of this YMCA for decades. And I just found out that you allow adult males to shower and change in the same room as my 13 and 15-year-old daughter and younger daughters. Is that true? She goes, yes, that's true. It's like whatever gender, gender inclusivity, if they feel whatever gender they are, their gender identifications, and they can go in that restroom. I was kind of shocked about this, and we had a conversation about it, and I said, so what if my daughter feels uncomfortable? What are her choices? Well, you know what? She can go to the gender neutral restroom. So she is forced out of her restroom by an adult male, naked male. So her private space is taken. So she has to leave to go to a smaller, less convenient, more rudimentary locker room. And I said, how is that fair? How's that fair that you step on the rights of women? And we got in this conversation, and she kept saying, it's about transgender inclusivity. I said, you know what? The point of a restroom is exclusivity. The point is just for females to be in one and males to be in another. Not just for the fact that maybe a lot of women I know and girls don't even like changing in front of females, let alone males. So they don't care about their feelings at all. They don't ask them. They don't put it on the sign. It just says women's on the locker room sign, which I've already confirmed, and a bunch of other stuff. They don't care about that. They just care about the transgender person that is roughly less than 5% of the population, of the 95% of the population. That doesn't matter. So basically, what it means is transgenders' rights don't just matter. They supersede all other rights. So my daughter is now forced to go to another locker room when she's been going there since she was a toddler, literally a baby when I taught her how. And let's not even get into the idea of the safety concerns of having a naked male in with teenagers and young kids and adult women, adult females. Again, I'll say females with the male in there. And they're more concerned about its inclusivity. The whole point, like I said, of a women's locker room and a men's locker room is exclusivity. So basically, I recorded this conversation. And when I did that and I made it public and I started to let people know about this idea, and when I started, I put on Nextdoor, put on Twitter, a bunch of other social media things, change.org. Most of them completely suspended my account when I had the account less than 24 hours because I started pulling out the truth of what these organizations, the YMCA, let me tell you this again, the YMCA nationwide has a policy that if you identify as a female, even if your parts don't match that, and you're a male, young or old, you can go march right into that locker room. shower with the women, change the women. That's a nationwide policy. And it's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, I'm not even going to get into in this discussion about what's wrong about males competing in women's sports. I touched on that. That is problem is going on all over the America, in high schools and college. Scholarships stolen by males, roster spots stolen by males, records stolen by males, podiums stolen by males, all the things in sports. It's just ridiculous that they would even, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter. The only science that doesn't matter is biology, the biology of males and females, which cannot be argued with or refuted. So, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get into this point, what I was talking about with my daughters, because it's directly with my daughters. So I went home and told one of my daughters about this, and my daughter was livid. I could barely talk to her. I could not even explain the whole situation. I cannot explain the fact that even though it is this particular women's locker room, though they'll probably change in the same room, at least the showers are separated by curtains. I couldn't even get to that point. She was so upset she wouldn't speak to me. She said, I can't talk about this anymore. I almost had to pull over the car when I told her. I thought she was really basically sad, scared, frustrated, mad, all at the same time. It's a very unique experience to see your daughter go through this. So I didn't talk to her about it anymore, but she told me I never want to go to that YMCA again. So understandably, I don't have a membership at that Y anymore. Well, after that happened, like I said, this guy started going over the web. Nextdoor canceled my account. Once I started telling my neighbors what was going on, we started having dialogues and people started being concerned about it. Immediately, my account's gone. My Twitter account's gone. Change.org, my post is taken off. Facebook things are still censored. LinkedIn things are censored. You name it, man. All these sites censored. So that's the reason I'm on LinkedIn to begin with. Why I'm on YouTube to begin with, because I've been taken off every platform for speaking truth of what's going on to females in this country right now. So I actually was considering just letting this go. I was like, you know what? We don't go in the Y that much more. I'm not going to worry about it. And I put up a website, dadfedup.org, because I was going to start speaking up for my girls. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this go. And then Monday morning, get a knock on the door, and it's a certified letter from the YMCA lawyers threatening me with police interaction. No idea what that means, if I don't take down the video. So then I know they're definitely trying to hide something. So that's when I decided, you know what? I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let this go. God's telling me, I'm a Christian. God's telling me I don't need to let this go. And then I'm kind of in and out because I don't want to get into this. And then I find out through my other daughter's school that she now has started track practice, that by tricking the athletic director, that they actually allow men, boys, young males to shower and change with young girls, young women in the women's locker room. But I kind of tricked them in my wording. And once I found out that they did that, he never answered on emails anymore. So I'm like, this is really, really scary and suspicious what's going on. So a couple weeks later, I'm taking my daughter to the local country club, and I go to taking my daughters and two other girls, young girls, teenage girls, and we go to the country club, local country club in our town, and I was going to go swim with them a little bit before I left, and I looked on the locker room wall and it said, depending on your gender, I forgot I took a picture of it. I'm not sure what the picture was. I don't think I can find it. But the wording basically was saying that they allowed anybody, depending on their gender. Here it is right here. Actually, I can't find it. I had this before. Regardless of their gender, if they felt like they were a female, any of their body parts said differently. Here it is. This said this was on the women's locker room door where young girls and young women and teenage girls and much younger kids change. It said, "We do not have the capabilities at this time to provide a gender-neutral restroom, shower, or changing area. You're welcome to use the area that best aligns with your gender identity." And let me translate what that means, because the girls with me didn't realize that. What that means is if you think you are a female, even though your body parts say differently, that you can shower in a gang shower. This is not separated showers. This is 6 or 7 showers, feet from each other. You can shower in there with naked males, can shower in there with all these girls. And there's no changing here. It's all one room where they're all naked at the same time. The safety hazard in that is just off the charts for me. I don't care who you are. The safety hazard, that is off the chart. Not alone the disregard for females' feelings and wanting at least some sense of privacy in this gang shower. And I was livid. And I explained this to these 4 girls, and they were shocked. They were scared to speak out, but they were just, their knees were clenched, and they were just like, well, that's really not fair for girls. One of the girls said, and this girl is very left-leaning, I'll just put it that way. And she was not even happy about this. And but they felt like they couldn't speak out. But once they knew, they were just tentative, very tentative. And I was livid. And I went up to the guy and I said, can you confirm this? Oh, yeah, we allowed this. And I didn't make a big deal of it. I'm not going to mention the place because, frankly, I'm not going to be going to that country club anymore. It's not really my country club anymore. It's my wife's. My soon-to-be ex-wife. We're soon to be divorced for political differences and many other differences. But I'm not gonna be. I wouldn't be on that country more. So the guy's a nice guy. He's got a good club. I'm not going to make a big deal. But what it did realize that here's God telling me again, don't let this go. You need to step up for not just your daughters, not just the daughters that you don't know, your nieces, your nephews, your friends' kids, all these women, but for women and females that are not even born yet. And I decided at that point that I'm not letting this go. And hell or high water, I will fight for my daughter's rights. And they don't even realize what's going on. They don't realize that their opportunities in sports are being taken. They don't realize their safe spaces are being taken. They don't realize their safety is being endangered. They don't realize that their comfort ladder matters less, not even on the equal level as transgender women. They don't realize that their identity is being erased before their very eyes. Is the woke of this world set to get rid of what women are, what females are, erasing their gender with these basically men, these biological men claiming that they have a mere trifle of an idea of what it's like to be a female. I don't care how long they have been thinking they're a woman or even had their surgery. They have no idea what it's like to experience the things that women, not just the oppression, the prejudice, the taking of their rights, the treating unfairly. But the things that females go through, menstruation, abortion, childbirth, miscarriage in the worst manner, all these things, these women, these men, these transgender women, these basically males have the audacity to say that they have a clue of what it's like to be a female in this world is a slap in the face to every female on this planet. I have no problem with somebody saying they're a transgender woman, but that is it. You are a transgender woman. You are not a woman. And to say you are is misogynistic. It is bullying. It is narcissistic. And it is wrong. And I will stand up for my daughters and every daughters. So this channel is going to be about that. And I will continually do live updates of things that happen in my fight against this. Probably next week. I have my daughters this week. I won't be able to do it this week. But next week, I will be protesting in front of the YMCA in my town and other towns with a sign that basically says, you should know that your daughters will be showering and changing with adult males in this YMCA. And they can decide for themselves if they want to know that. If they want, they're fine with that, that's their business. But what I'm seeing is the YMCA is trying to hide it in fine print and keep it from happening. So I will keep you up to date how this is going. And next week I'll be out there with my sign. I'm sure there'll be some people out there trying to mess with me, but I'll just be expressing my First Amendment rights to educate the public. Public service announcement to let people know what's going on. So signing with you all again, but you can check out what I'm going on at dadfedup.org because I'm not stopping, because they're not stopping. They're not stopping trying to step on women's rights. I mean, females' rights. Always females. Females keep going. Females' rights. So hope y'all have a good week and send me any questions you have any. Okay? Take care, y'all.